Imagine the Death Star trench run from Star Wars. Except instead of one small thermal exhaust port that's only 2 meters wide, you have to take out 8 of them. That's Star Strike in a nutshell. I could end it right there, but let's keep going, I guess. This is Star Strike for Atari 2600 video computer system, released in 1983 from M Network, the Atari game-making division of Mattel Electronics, who had their own console in the form of Intellivision. And coincidentally, Star Strike is indeed a simplified port of a previously released Intellivision game of the same name. So the way Star Strike works is that you fly a ship of some sort, and your primary goal is to bomb the missile silos that you come across along the trench. Whenever you're in the trench, you'll deploy your bombs, but outside of the trench, you'll fire your largely ineffective laser cannons to theoretically ward off attacking bogeys, but really your best bet is to avoid contact with these at all cost, lest they bump into you enough times that you'll end up crashing and the people of Earth will meet their end. Yes, that's supposed to be Earth on top. Now, if you end up nailing all 8 silos, the enemy base will explode and you will have beaten the game. And that's it. Star Strike is as bare bones as it comes. It has no title screen, no scoring, no lives, there are no game modes, levels, or intermissions beyond the 2 endgames. You power up your Atari and you're thrown straight into the action. Move your ship around with the joystick, which proves to be somewhat challenging because your ship moves fairly slowly. Even worse is when you collide with an enemy and your controls are on the fritz for a short while, which you could either fight through until you've regained control, or you can accept your fate, crash onto the surface, and watch the world die, and die at will. The only real means of game variations is through the difficulty switches, which controls the speed of your ship as well as the accuracy of enemy weapons thrown your way. But in any event, once you get it patterned down, Star Strike becomes really simple to overcome. Note that I said simple and not easy. Nailing the timing of your bombs on the silos will take a couple tries at first, but eventually you'll get the hang of it. Of course, once you've conquered Star Strike's one single level, you've pretty much exhausted all the game has to offer, which is sadly extremely little. Now admittedly, the trench is done rather nicely, with smooth scaling for the terrain if you want to call it that. However, the actual ships look like garbage, with little balls and discs as enemies and your ship basically being a couple tiny jaggy lines at best. Being generous there. Even the destruction scenes are somewhat underwhelming even by Atari standards. As for sound output, it's average stock Atari noise. Nothing more, nothing less. Overall, Star Strike on Atari 2600 is a good idea with so-so execution and virtually no replay value. It's not a bad game or anything, it plays well enough, for the most part I guess, but it's pretty much a one-and-done deal regardless of context. Best played on one of those Atari compilations like Atari 50, which is what I'm using, and then quickly, promptly forgotten about.